Hi guys. That video just shown was a way to get everybody's attention. As we are now beginning lockdown number 2, I felt it was important to highlight mental health awareness. So I want to share my story regarding my mental health. Not in detail, but the basics and the root. I was raised on abuse, neglect, abandonment and violence. It's only in the last 6 years that I have had to unlearn and relearn everything I should have learned from a toddler. I'm now learning about love, nurture, and understanding my own emotions and reading other people's emotions, intentions, and how to trust in general. Despite my upbringing, I've always considered myself a nice enough person who would help anyone and to be a good friend. But with that came problems. 1 minute I'm liked, and the next I'm disliked or dismissed by the public or anyone I come across because I'm misunderstood. And that has been hard to understand over the years. And I think that's another reason why people stay silent and suffer in silence, through fear of being rejected. I've questioned myself. I have lost confidence when I think I've made a breakthrough in building relationships, which has caused a vulnerability yet an aggressive nature within me. Because having years of what I endured from my caregivers and outside influence brought into my home has had an effect on my mindset and my mental stability, my growth as a person, and my perceptions and readings of people's intentions towards me. I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, depression, and a small form of ESPD, which means emotionally stunted personality disorder. Causes of physical and emotional damage from a young age by those who were supposed to love me. So I missed out on being taught the things many take for granted, like the basics to contribute in growing as a person into adulthood. Being picked up and dropped and exploited and conspired, I was very confused about the world and the people surrounding me. So imagine this: having your own father abandon you, never seeing you, but keeping your brother, a brother who still came over most weekends at your house you shared with your mother, who also bullied you because he observed his mother doing it. Not having that normal sibling bond. Having a mother who was spiteful and made you feel like you wasn't wanted, giving you nothing but an aggressive attitude, putting a string of fellas before you and also letting them hurt you while looking the other way behind closed doors. Changing your surname so many times to please her partners so they would accept me, and just to wind my father up. I then felt I had no sense of identity. Ostracising me from the family, making up stories about me to cover up the abuse, and so I could never find my voice to ask for help. And the older I got, the worse it got, because I was becoming a woman. So then your own mother starts displaying jealousy of you because she saw you as a threat and accused you of trying to nick her fellas. So she isolated me from everyone as much as she could. I was never taught how to conduct myself properly, nothing about boys or anything in general in life. Nothing when it came to making friends, making me feel like my feelings didn't matter. I was only there to serve her and only regard her feelings. I was to be seen by who she saw fit and not heard. That's my mother. You're probably wondering why I'm telling you this, and as I said at the beginning, there is a point. The point is, one of them, imagine how damaging that is in your early years of your life. The most crucial time a person sponges the vital information that you learn from your caregivers when it comes to that part of your brain, which is called the hippocampus. Imagine going to school and having no one understand you because you're not fully equipped. They just bully you because you haven't got the tools to conduct yourself properly because you wasn't taught. And no, you can't articulate what was happening to you. Instead, you're desperately trying to fit in and be accepted and mask that you have a problem, because your caregiver has created that. Imagine not being cared about by anyone and having no one to turn to. Not a single person in the world that you could rely on. So fast forward to early adulthood. Of course, I can come across as confusing, a bit weird, a bit loud and immature, and sometimes a little aggressive and hard to be around at times, because I blow hot and cold because I'm still struggling to trust people. And then when I do, I'm shunted. And I've noticed it more over in the last couple of years. And this was my point about people staying silent because they're too ashamed. So it creates confusion further in me, and I can get angry or withdrawn. There's never a healthy balance. So it can be hard for me to get along with people. I didn't mean to be like that, but I can't help it. I'm still growing now and understanding my own emotions and battling to rationalise them in a balanced, healthier way, just like many of us are with mental health issues. So remember that before you judge someone by their cover without knowing their story. I'm having to go back to basics before I used to care about what people thought about me, because I didn't know any better. It was what I was raised on. Fear. I've only ever known how to survive. Now fast forward to now. I've cut every single person of my side of the family completely off, and anyone else that I don't see as a good person. Because I owe it to myself not to be made to feel like I'm nothing and rob myself of being the best version of who I want to be. My children don't deserve to be raised on fear, control, or abuse. They deserve the ability to help them grow as good people and for a stable mental state. This is where the gym's being closed down is my worry. Because I'm one of those people that needs it to control the anger and sadness that I battle every day to balance my mind and keep my mother's voice and her words out of my head silently. And I'm sure I speak for many in that department. Gym is medicine. I've worked hard in therapy to learn so much about myself. And I've learned also to not be ashamed, because none of that is my fault. I accept my flaws. It contributes to me as a person. I know how important it is to be kind, because I craved kindness and nurture, and I craved a good friend. I'm learning so much about myself that I didn't know I had in me. Having children of my own and pursuing something I've always been passionate about. And the positive out of my trauma is that I'm equipped with the life experiences, because it helps me be the artist I am today. Which is why the arts are just as important to people like me as well as the gym. Because I can only balance my emotions in a healthy way by tapping into them and bringing something to the table. I know sheer grit because I've seen it in real life. I know fear very well and how uncomfortable it is. I've learned more about people, good and bad, and I'm intuitive enough now to tell when someone is being real or being fake towards me. I now have a wider vocabulary and love from my children that I've learned now that I missed out on as a kid and as a teen and as a young woman. But again, here is my second point. I battle the self-doubt, the depression and the inner demons every single day, and I will for the rest of my life. But I have never given up. That does not make me any less of a person than anyone who doesn't suffer with their mental health and who's had the right beginning. I'm just a bit behind, but I don't resent anyone who was fortunate, as I know that isn't always the case. If anything, it makes me smile because I can learn from it. That alone shows how far I've come and how strong I've become. The reason I'm telling my story is because mental health is a huge crisis that is overlooked by so many, general public as well as experts and so-called friends. Do not judge a person because of their mental health or mental growth. Same as you wouldn't judge an asthmatic because it's a condition that is no one's fault. If you really don't have the tools to try and look past that in a person and learn from each other, then I guess the people in the world are more ignorant than what I thought. Mental health is a rising issue in the world. Now 10 times more since the pandemic has stopped everyone from getting on with their lives. There has been a rise in suicides because of loneliness. No gyms, no arts to channel and balance our minds. The brain is a powerful organ, and without balance creates battles within. There are some now that haven't come as far as people like me, to be comfortable in their own skin finally, or surroundings, that haven't reached the place where they feel strong enough to quiet them demons who chip away at us every day in our minds. 75% of people with mental health issues are usually down to childhood trauma or a traumatic event they have experienced that can trigger off a chemical in the brain and cause an imbalance. And if that's not treated, it can kill a person slowly. It's nicknamed the slow silent killer. It costs nothing to be kind. Remember that. Love and kindness and support, especially when things are not available, is the world's magic and medicine to those who are suffering and battling with themselves. Don't dismiss those who have had a bad deck of cards handed to them. Use your tools and your balance you were provided to make a difference to someone else's. The smallest thing like, "Hi, how are you?" in a message in these times right now could save someone's life.